This American manager came to see me in a show and he literally said, "Can you stop the feminism thing? Because it's not doing you any favours."
My life right now has been high-key obsessed with Funny Woman. The show is set in the 1960s, and it is a world that is still very dominated by men and the entertainment industry. I mean, this kind of feels like nothing's really changed when we actually say this out loud, but the entertainment industry was still very obsessed with stereotypes of women and definitely the sexualization of women and the physicality of women. When you stepped back into that kind of 1960s world, how much did it make you reflect on how far we've come, and also kind of alerted you to how much further we still need to go, especially in terms of representing women and the stereotypes of women?
Morwenna Banks, who wrote the series, is an amazing comic herself, and has put a lot of her own lived experience as a comic living in woman growing up in comedy. Until quite recently, she had, execs telling her that she couldn't be attractive and funny. And that was until very recently. There has been that sort of attitude towards attractive women in comedy. The other day, I was at a premiere, a screening thing, and someone was literally staring at my boobs as I was talking to them about the show. There's a bit in episode 1 where she's
Yeah.
being interviewed by a journalist and he just stares at her boobs and she's like, "Hello, I am here if you want to ask me anything." That happens all the time. And listen, if you've got, I'm not saying that I've got great boobs, especially after having a baby, but if you've got great boobs and they're really attractive, yes, okay, look at them. But I don't know, it's like there is still that going on in our business. And there are certain dinosaurs that are still working, I guess, to this day. But it has changed a lot, thankfully, since the 60s. But there's definitely, still things where I feel like it's more about the dinosaurs that are still working, where you kind of have to shake them and go, "Hello, this is 2023. We don't do that anymore." It's thankfully changed a lot, but a lot of the things as well in the show feel very prevalent still. I mean, I definitely feel that there's still this wanting to pigeonhole people. If you are glamorous, then you have to be glamorous all the time, or if you're funny, then I feel that to a certain extent sometimes, that people like to pigeonhole people.
It's so sad, though, that we are still living in a world where we still hear and see everyday sexism all the time. And I think there must be so many times where you literally want to, like, a la Barbara, kick it in the cock, right?
Yes, definitely. I think it is. It's funny, isn't it? Because you could, like the other day when the guy was looking at my boobs, I could have just been like, "You're looking at my boobs. We stop looking at my boobs," and I didn't, because I was
Mm.
like, "Oh, it's not the right thing to do, and I should just pretend it's not happening." And which is what I did, is I just pretended it wasn't happening and kind of laughed at it. Um, and I guess if I had said, "Can you just not stare at my boobs and when you're talking to me?" It would have made things really awkward and a bit weird. But I guess that's what we have to do if we want things to
Yeah.
change, don't we? We have to stop doing that and call it out. I mean, in episode 1, literally in this first scene, she gets the mayor of Blackpool, pinches a bum and slaps a bum, and she just goes, "Oh." But I feel like that's still often the way that you have to deal with these things, or we feel we have to deal with these things, because otherwise you have to kind of start something and it's really difficult. But it's actually what you have to do, is to call it out and say, "No, no, no, can you not do that?"
It can be quite scary to use your voice at different times, but one of the reasons I've always really admired you is because you've always spoken up, you've always used your voice, and like you've done that time and time again, especially around Me Too and feminism in the entertainment industry and calling out on equal pay. And like that's a very scary thing to do in an entertainment industry, where you still in the back of your mind like, I need to work, I want to work, but will this set me back? And Barbara also is campaigning to have her voice be heard too. Has there been some turning points in you prompting you to use your voice more and to speak out more?
Yeah, I mean, when you have personal experiences where you literally go, "Oh, that's enough is enough now. I'm just over that now." And I think, back when all of this Time's Up Me Too stuff was happening, it just felt like this is the time to speak up. But even before then, I was speaking up. And I remember I was speaking up about equal pay or something, I don't know, just feminist shit. And this American manager came to see me in a show, and he literally said, "Can you stop the feminism thing? Because it's not doing you any favors." And I remember thinking, I just can't help it. It's the way I am.
Mm.
I have to. And then many years later, the same guy was then like behind the whole Me Too thing, and his clients are all speaking out. And I just remember thinking, God, there's such a hypocrisy in this industry of, when it suits people, it's they'll speak out because it's like the zeitgeist or something, and it's a fashionable thing to do, or others are doing it. But actually, for people to be speaking out because they really feel they should or they need to. And I remember thinking that. I think that until the Me Too and the Harvey Weinstein thing, a lot of people were scared to use their voice because there was this ridiculous attitude towards women who did. And that it was going to hold their careers back, or it would make people think that you got all feminists now and you're all, tough and you can't do your job properly, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it's different now, and there's this great solidarity, and it's just a whole different world.
Mm. When do you feel like you've been the proudest of using your voice?
Probably was around the equal pay stuff, and getting the movement and the Equal Pay Act amended when we went to Parliament, and uh, this was back in 2015 and 16. And getting equal, the Equal Pay Act for equal work. That was really a really big moment, and I was just really proud of it. But also, like doing this doing this stuff with Me Too and Time's Up. That was a really cool time in my life, actually, of
Mm.
activism and using my voice and putting myself out there a bit more. And it was a bit freaky. I had to call actors up and talk to them, and some of them were a bit like, "Oh, I'm not doing that," and then you'd have to like keep pushing them. And actors can be quite difficult. I've learned. I was like, "Oh, I'm really scared to call this person," and their agent would be like, "Just call her. She'll snap at you, but she will do what you say." It was a really cool thing, to be involved in. So those times, I guess.